Mike McCool here with the Royal Examiner. I'm at the Royal Oak Bookstore on, is it a shop or a store?
Shop.
That's what I thought
Shop.
it was, because we talked to Mark Williams that works for us, kind of lives down here once in a while. So we're at the Royal Oak Bookshop on South Royal Avenue. With me is Tammy Bolden. Bolden. I keep messing that up. I don't know why I do that. And introduce Alex.
Yep, Alex Rossino. Yep.
Well, we're here today. She is having all sorts of artists come in over the next year, every Saturday
or Sunday.
To show us their new works, sign books, talk to the public. So it's really great, and we really appreciate you doing that, because we're kind of bringing that little charm into our community. We really appreciate that. So with me today is Alex. Alex, we're going to talk about your book.
Great.
Let me hold one of these up here.
Absolutely.
We're going to give it a plug here. You see this book right here? We're going to tell you about it in the story so you can read that.
You all have fun.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Tammy. So, 6 days in September.
Yes, sir.
You were talking just a minute ago. You said this is fiction.
It is. It's historical fiction, but I'm a historian by training,
Right.
so I actually researched it like it was a history and wrote it like a history, but I wrote it in the first person instead of the third person.
Right,
So that it would. So that's why I call it a novel, so that things unfold in front of you. You only know what the characters and personalities know. You don't know that overarching,
Right.
like historians know that voice of God. That
Right, exactly. Okay. I was reading some of the information that your publisher puts out and seeing how it sounds very interesting.
Thank you.
And it's really a neat little story. And of course, this part of the country we're in is really right into the heart of where all these stories take place.
Sure.
So tell us a little bit about what the basic of the story is.
So what it does is it follows the Army of Northern Virginia in Maryland in 1862. When Lee was, he launched his invasion in September of 1862. It follows the last 6 days of the campaign. So right when Lee learns that McClellan's army is advancing much faster than he expected, and his plans for an invasion of Pennsylvania are going to have to be put aside. So it's right when Jackson takes command, or captures Harper's Ferry, and then through the Battle of South Mountain and the Battle of Antietam, Sharpsburg, and then the eventual Confederate retreat back into Virginia.
So who's the main character of the book?
So there are a number of main characters, but actually Lee is the main character.
Oh, okay.
So because without Lee, there's no Maryland campaign, there's no fight at South Mountain, there's no battle at Sharpsburg. These are really all his decisions to fight at these places.
So it puts a different focus, kind of like on the Civil War versus just the true historical items that we normally used to reading.
It does, and really what I intended to do is try and convey to the public, and to a wider public, people who don't necessarily read history, because it's written as a novel so that folks can read a story that they really like, but still learn something, and learn about the importance of the 1862 campaign and why it was the best chance for the Confederacy to win the war.
So you didn't take a lot of editorial license in the story. It's historically accurate.
It's historically accurate. It's accurately portrayed, right? All of the events are events that happened. It's just that you view them through the participants' eyes as opposed to me describing what they are.
Oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of a neat way.
Yeah.
It makes things really interesting and come to life, where you can kind of like make it personal.
That's what I wanted to do. I wanted people to get involved in the story, and I wanted it to unfold in front of them so that as they're reading, even though they might know the history, they want to know what's going to happen
Exactly.
next.
Make it a little more personal. It sounds good. It's called 6 Days in September. Well, it's great. It's here. It's available here at the Royal Oak Bookshop on South Royal Avenue. Yep. It's also available on Amazon.
It is available on Amazon and on my publisher's website. That's savisbeatty.com, B-E-A-T-I-E.
All right. Sounds interesting. So I take it you have another book or two in your arsenal.
I do. So this one is written entirely from the Confederate perspective, which also makes it another kind of interesting difference from today, because a lot of people don't read or write about stuff about the Southern Confederacy. So it's written from the Confederate perspective. The new one, called The Guns of September, it'll be out in September of 2019. That's written from the Union perspective.
Covering the same basic
Covering
period of time?
same events, but written from the perspective of those on the other side.
Wow, that's kind of interesting.
Which was fascinating exercise for me, because I almost felt like I was reading about different things.
Right.
Because their perspectives were so different and their personalities were so different.
So what are you calling that book?
That's called The Guns of September.
Okay.
Yep.
I was going to say, what you do is like those books, you turn it this direction, it's the 6 Days of September, and you turn it this direction, it's a
good idea. I never thought of that.
There you go. You're publishing 2 books in one.
Right.
I'll give you my royalty when we get ready to do that. Alex, it's really appreciate you you coming
Pleasure
to Front
meeting you.
Royal. I know
Thank
you
you.
live in Maryland.
I live in Boonesboro, so
Well,
it
that's
wasn't
not
that
too far.
bad.
No,
No, just down 340 to
That's right. Well, you
2522.
live right there in the heart of all
do.
this stuff that happened. It was like in your backyard.
I do. Why do you think I had to write about it? I felt compelled to do it.
You didn't have to travel far for research, did
No,
you?
no.
Well, I know that the Civil War is like we're never going to forget. I mean, it really is, has a lot more than just, it's got a lot of history and it's got a lot of things that we really need to take to heart, both one side or the other. And of course, it's pretty pertinent right now what's going on with all the activities of things that happened in our past that we're trying to like do away with, forget. But there's a lot to be said about our history.
There is.
And we really need to learn these things. And this is great. So we really appreciate you coming to Front Royal.
Thank you
and
for having
good
me.
luck on your new book.
Thanks
we'll
so
hope
much.
to see you in September then.
Yeah, we'll
All
do.
right.
Okay,
Thanks again.
take care.
Bye-bye.